than get hidden in the day-to-day business of solving today's problems.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Chris, you're working as a senior sustainability consultant with clients every day. How do your personal values manifest in those discussions?
Well, look, I guess for myself, I feel like you know, my role is to help bring about the change that we've been talking about, but to do that within my own sphere of influence, you have to be realistic about what you can do, and also bring a lot of humility to the table. You know, I might be a sustainability professional, but I only have a portion of the answers, and everybody that I work with has the other part of the answers and the knowledge and the solution. So we have to actually collaborate, and that's difficult, I think, in an age where we're all moving very fast. There's a lot of you know, time pressure, financial pressure, pressure to perform. But actually, what we need to do is sit back, try and work out what are the right questions to ask, such as, you know, how can this particular project contribute to making the world a better place? That isn't a question that's normally asked. It's, in fact, if I asked it at most design team meetings, or the first one that I went to, I would probably get looks of disdain. That's not a relevant question. We just need to build this thing and get on with it. But I think we need to spend a bit more time in those questions, collaborating, having other stakeholders in the room. We usually don't have anybody in a typical design meeting. We wouldn't have anybody that represents nature, so to speak. Nature does not have a voice. And we can all try and give nature a voice, but most of us struggle to have a full understanding of how nature works, and this is one of the big challenges. So trying to create the space to have those conversations, to slow things down a little bit, so that we can put our emphasis in the right places and make sure that what we're doing is not just perhaps creating a more sustainable building or project, but we're actually transforming the people in the room, our organisations, community.
Oh, crazy, Chris.
And have that transformation happen.
Yeah. Wow.
That's just brilliant. It's interesting that your reflections, Chris, because I guess my job's a bit different. I bring different stakeholders together. So there will be engineers in the room, but there'll also be government people and business people, and sometimes environment and union groups. And going back to what Robert said, I work a lot in coal communities or areas where they are producing electricity through coal. And what's astounding to me is these communities that we think are most resistant are where I hear the most radical questions. They don't know that they're radical questions, but they are asking about, what is the future of our community if we keep going? We can see the writing on the wall. Why aren't we investing in something different? What are the answers? How do we actually create good jobs? We don't just want jobs, we want actual good jobs for our children into the future. We want to, and this is before COVID, but people in Central Queensland earlier this year were saying, we're actually not as resilient as we used to be. How do we make sure that we're self-sufficient with whatever comes our way? So there's definitely openings. People want to, but they just don't know where to start with that conversation and what the next steps are.
Yeah, it's not just about jobs. I mean, I think we have this mantra of it's about jobs, it's about jobs. I think it's about careers, it's about having a purpose in life and actually doing something that's meaningful, not just, in quotes, a job. I mean, we can all have a job to get by from time to time, but really having a meaningful career in terms of what you do is to me much more fulfilling.
Absolutely.
I think that's part of certainly from my I practiced in the aerospace industry as an engineer, and we used to talk a lot about the disconnect between the thing that we did every day and the end product, or in this case I would say even the outcome. And I think for an engineer sitting behind their desk crunching numbers on a reductionist problem, Robert, to your point, to solve today's piece of the puzzle that contributes to XYZ report, the connection to the output, let alone the outcome for the planet and the community, is today potentially a big stretch. And I think I certainly have a level of consciousness when I'm working on Engineers Declare or other work that we are asking people to engage in a different type of mindset, and it's a uncomfortable mindset, because as engineers, unless the training's changed significantly, we're taught that there's a right answer and a wrong answer, and that there's a right way to get to that answer and a wrong way to get to that answer. And that's not the case with these problems.
Jane, I agree very strongly. And Chris, I'd just love to come back to your point. It sounds like something all of us could do from this afternoon is create more space within our work teams and with our peers and colleagues in other organisations as well, to talk about the purpose of the project that we're working on and what that ultimate outcome and vision is. And then perhaps from there, actually say, well, and what would metrics of success look like that are beyond the financial or you know, the profit for the client? That in itself, even if it doesn't immediately change the nature of the design or the operation of a project, is going to start shifting what people are talking about, and therefore, you know, there'll be a flow-on effect down at some point into decision making as well, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And I mean,